Good afternoon. I'm Simon Sporter, and I'm excited to tell you that I've got Mike Farrell of Howden Insurance with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Mike.
Afternoon, Simon. How are you?
All good, thank you, and thanks for joining us. So Mike's going to tell us all about Howden's, how it helps LTA registered clubs. Why didn't you start, Mike, by telling me a bit about yourself, though, before we get on to Howden's? How did you get into this whole area?
Brilliant. So I've been in insurance about 10 years now, and most about 7 or 8 years of those are predominantly sports, both in the UK and in Ireland. I started off working for an independent brokerage in my hometown of Dublin, specialising in sports, and came over here to the Midlands now, where we're based, and sticking with specialising in sports.
Okay, great. And now coming on to Howden's. Who are they and what do they do?
So Howden are easily one of the largest insurance brokerages in the UK. We've got in excess of 100 offices now, up and down the country, not only just in the UK, but also 50 plus territories worldwide. Our department is split throughout the UK, here in Birmingham, out in London, and also in Scotland. And we're a team now of just shy of 100, covering any type of sports manageable, from amateur, professional, small scale to international events. Absolutely everything related to sport and entertainment falls within our department.
Okay. And you obviously work with the LTA, and you've created an offering for registered clubs and venues via the LTA. Tell me a bit about that.
Yes, so we've been working with the LTA 10 plus years now, and one of how we arrange the insurance program for the LTA is factoring in the registered venues which you mentioned. And as part of that insurance program, we build that policy which covers what we would sort of say top down. So the LTA, and then everyone who sits below, from regions, registered venues, accredited coaches, members, volunteers, everyone involved in tennis or their tennis venue or tennis club, are insured under that single contract of insurance through the LTA.
Okay. So what do they, under that, by being registered and therefore under this umbrella, what does this club and venue get?
So it's a package policy that we provide for the venues. So you have public liability there, which is there to pick up third-party injury, third-party property damage claims brought against the club or its members. We've also got additional covers there, such as employers' liability, which picks up any claims made against the club by staff or volunteers working on behalf of the club. And we also have directors and officers insurance, which protects the club's committee for any wrongful acts they might do while they're in their role as operating within the club. And there are plenty of other small elements of the cover within there, but it's quite a holistic view of the package of insurance that we give to the registered venues.
Okay. And can you give me sort of just an overall feel for the level of cover?
Yeah, so for example, the public liability is 60 million, which we build into layers. We do get asked the question, would a non-affiliated club be able to purchase that level of insurance? The answer is yes. It would be incredibly expensive for a venue to do so, which is the benefit of having sort of everything wrapped around the LTA single contract of insurance. We afford to have that economies of scale to make it a comprehensive package.
Okay, fine. And you've got a microsite. What is the microsite?
Yes, so this is something we provide the LTA and have done for a number of years now, which essentially is a single port of call for a number of queries and questions that venues might have. It gives summaries as to the level of insurance, what examples of what is and what isn't insured, and just gives members a bit of a steer if they have a question about insurance, that they've got a single point of contact there on the website, and they can easily find out any questions that they've got. And if something there doesn't answer what they're looking for, there's areas for them to contact us direct at Howden.
Okay. And what is the cost of the basic cover to each club or venue? by being affiliated to this?
Well, that's part of the LTA's membership structure. Because we set it up whereby it's a single contract of insurance, costs are associated, discussions with the LTA themselves. We don't sort of allocate a per price per venue, as it were. So as part of that membership charge that the venues have with the LTA, insurance is a part of that membership benefit.
Okay, so in effect, by being affiliated to the LTA, an insurance level, which would be a basic level, will always be included.
Yes.
Okay, and if they want, shall we say, add-ons, let's say there's a bit more to it than just tennis. Maybe they have bowls, maybe they have paddle, maybe they have, which obviously paddle is now under the LTA remit. Maybe they wash, maybe they have a gym, even a swimming pool. So what happens if they have add-ons, or if there are things which are slightly less than straightforward?
We do have some add-ons where clubs can purchase independent policies themselves. Sports that you mentioned there, like squash, other racket sports, for example, the liability of those are within the policy anyway. So there isn't a top-up policy that's needed. That's an agreed activity. Therefore, the policy will remain in place. There isn't an additional charge that a club will have to pay for it. Again, if there's members playing squash, for example. The additional covers that we place for venues direct is their property insurance. And the reason we do this with the LTA and every other national governing body that we work with is there is no one central focus on, the size of a club's clubhouse and their floodlights and their courts and the fencing, etc. Only the club will know that. So it gives the clubs purchase that insurance independently, and we do work with hundreds of tennis clubs ourselves, and they manage or we manage their property insurance through that link, and they come to us direct for that. I'd say the second policy which we do see a lot of, particularly as we're sitting here in the summer months, are tours. So if there are registered venues and their members who are traveling to Ireland, let's say, to make it easy, and having an event with the local tennis club in Dublin, for example, there are travel insurance requirements like we all need when we go on our holidays, and venues can purchase that as well through our online system.
So if, for example, a club was taking 20 juniors over to Spain for a junior program, some coaching, maybe a tournament, the club would phone you up and say, this is a little bit unusual. Can you give us cover for each of the individuals coming, plus probably their equipment and whatever else we need? And you'd be able to tailor something for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a bespoke travel insurance arrangement specifically for sports. So again, the covers in place are very similar to what you'd get on a travel policy that you can purchase. The difference being is that it's tailored for sports, so it includes the playing of the sport. So if someone is injured whilst playing tennis and they require hospitalization and there's medical expenses as a result of that, the policy will respond. Okay,
great. And most people, like with any household and insurance, you put it away in the drawer until there's a problem. So, and generally you've never read the policy, as much as we should all read our policies, but don't read the policies. So is there somewhere they can, apart from the microsite, is there somewhere they can go to talk to people, to contact people, to say, we've got a problem, we need to tell you about it, or we've suddenly thought of this? Where do they go?
Absolutely. So there's twofold, as you mentioned, the microsites there. We also do have a dedicated email address that myself and a number of colleagues have access to in regards to just general queries, not just the tours that we mentioned, but even just general club matters or coaching matters or anything along those lines. We have a dedicated email address that the individuals can contact us on.
I think you produced a slide to show us that.
Yeah, that is here now. Slide. Much easier than trying to read out an email address, just in case.
You only need to put it up for about a second, because then it will be part of the recording.
Absolutely perfect.
Great, thank you. That would be great. You can take it off now. Everyone's got the details there, so that's great. Thank you. Okay, so is it necessary on an annual basis to update yourselves either online or in some way of any changes within the club or the venue? Is that part of the LTA registration, or is it the responsibility of the club to sort of say, actually, we've now got extra courts or we've got extra facilities? How does that bit work?
We would certainly recommend, for those who have property insurance through us, we would certainly recommend as soon as there are changes to notify us. One of the big areas that we're really pushing with our clients at the minute is around the values of their clubhouses and their courts and their floodlights. It's, you know, it's fair to say that the costs associated with rebuilding clubhouses have increased over the years, you know, with inflation and all the rest. But what tends to happen is it's been quite a while since clubs of any sport have someone to come in and value the property for them. It's quite important that those valuations are done, because God forbid, and touch wood as I say this, if a club was to experience a total loss and the clubhouse was entirely wiped out, we need to ensure that the value it's insured for matches the rebuild cost in the event of a total loss.
Okay, and is that communication, can that be done on the microsite? Is that done just manually by sending an email? Is that a conversation? Is there a standard form? How do people do?
The email is always the best protocol, because, you know, we have an existing policy. We do get queries over time where people say, I've actually gone and had my valuation. I just need to, you know, my building is insured for £1 million. It needs to go up to 1.5. Great. We can do all that nice and easy for the clubs. Not a problem.
Right. Okay. So it seems to me that there's another advantage of being affiliated to the LTA, that there is some insurance cover that goes along with it and some support. Thank you very much, Mike, for coming along this afternoon to talk to us and giving us some explanation. And I'm sure your email address and your website will get lots of hits going forward with people asking questions. Thank you very much for joining us.
Excellent, Simon. Thank you.